mean, here we have the Enchantress, whether it was premeditated or not, kind of baiting them into a fight, and we do have Secret.
I really like Arteezy's move at this point. It's like he mantas, he 6-2 of the illusions onto the Clinks, and then splits up for the Leshrac so that he can, maximize his damage and make Lesh's decision really difficult as to where to drop his split earth. Anti-Mage seems to be, I would say, the stable carry of choice after Gyrocopter. He's really good versus Leshrac, which some teams actually let through Secret and EG in particular, as well as the Storm Spirit.
All right, and this one, a pretty big moment for MVP Phoenix. They do end up tying 1-1 against Fnatic. So Fnatic, after having that strong showing against Secret, a lot of other teams really trying to focus them down, at least take one game off of Fnatic, keep them at bay. We'll see MVP Phoenix going for a push here. And we didn't get to see this on the mainstream, but again, I mean, a lot of people being pleasantly surprised by a couple of these games from whether it's MVP Phoenix or even MVP Hot 6.
Yeah, they're definitely showing that they can take games off higher rated teams, I guess. Fnatic were definitely a team, if you ask me going into the tournament, I would say they were just flat out 2-0 MVP, but Fnatic have been like day and night in their games, it seems. Like they had that incredible absolute beatdown of Secret, which is the only game Secret has lost, and then they've been on the receiving end against a team like MVP. I think yesterday they went 0-2 against another team where they were really not looking too good. I can't remember which matchup that was. I think we had it on our stream actually.
We'll have to double check on that
It's
one.
eluding me right now, but
Cloud9?
was it Cloud9?
Yeah, they lost.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty convincing too from Cloud9. Like it wasn't that close. Maybe game 1 was decent, but game 2 was pretty one-sided.
Yeah, and this is our last clip for day 2. I mean, a very back and forth game between EG and Vici. Of course, at the end of the day, EG being able to pull
This
that
was the
out.
best game from yesterday, if I recall. Like the best series from
Yeah,
yesterday.
this game was incredible. And the series, yeah. Okay.
Glimmer Cape plus Cold Embrace.
Yep. It was probably this was the game with the overall highest level of execution from both teams. So there were, of course, a couple of mistakes here and there, but overall, the way they adapted during fights, the way you could tell they approached fights and how they strategized was really nice to watch. That's definitely the highlight moment of yesterday.
Yeah, and again, only halfway through the group stages, so plenty more to come. As you can see on your screens behind us, we do have the schedule for our very first games of day 3. On stream 3, we will be kicking off with Na'Vi versus Fnatic. Again, two teams really still trying to find their stable footing. Fnatic had a strong showing on day 1, like we discussed. Na'Vi definitely had their shining moments too, but both of these teams kind of being back and forth. We'll see who comes out on top. On stream 2, C9 versus IG. Potential to go a very long game. Could turn out to be one of the more epic games we have in the group stages. But most importantly, here on our stream, on the main stream, we do have Secret versus LGD. So let's dive right into that matchup. I mean, sure, statistically, okay, both teams are number 1 in Group A. They're tied with 10 points. Secret coming in as a strong favorite into TI5. But a lot of people were saying, I don't know, LGD we think definitely can be top 3, at least, at TI5. Winter, what are your thoughts on this matchup, given what we've seen from both teams so far?
I think they have a very big contrast in playstyle. LGD is like what we mentioned before, a lot of 5-man, they want to push. So the hero I would watch out for, if I'm LGD, I would be ready for Keeper of the Light. I think Secret would actually let the Undying to give it to LGD, and they will play a Keeper of the Light to just move the team around and make sure that Undying is very useless in the game. He can't push towers because of Keeper of the Light. Or the other hero, I think it's I.M.O. Might be contested by both of the teams because both of them play the hero well. But so far we have not seen any I.M.O. picks from Secret. But obviously they've played it a lot in the past. So I think these are the two heroes that are going to be in contention for the match today.
Yeah, Ben, I mean, overall we have mentioned Wisp quite a few times on, well, it could work here in this draft or in certain compositions. Hasn't been picked up as many times as we discussed. But what are your thoughts on maybe some of those contention picks, aside from kind of the meta favorites?
I'm curious to see what they're going to do for late gamers. I think LGD is one of the strongest late game teams in Secret. We talked about Secret C9 yesterday. It's like, okay, well, Cloud9 can't really match up for a Secret late game, so they have to go all in early game. LGD, I think, is a little bit of the opposite. I think their best chance might actually be to out late game Secret and try and scale better throughout. And I I don't think they're actually going to go for the Undying just because they know that Secret can counter it really well. And I think that's actually Secret's initiative to actually take control of the early game.
Syndrome, would you agree with that? Because generally, again, that, like you mentioned, Ben, that's a little bit opposite of what we used to say when Secret has a matchup.
I think it's definitely a scary proposition to go late game against Secret, but I would agree if there's like very few teams here in this tournament that I would say have a good shot against Secret late game. LGD is one of them, so I could definitely see that. I want to mention I think Anti-Mage will actually be could become a really important hero in this matchup. It seems to be Secret's go-to hero against this kind of 5-man is that they have RTZ farming, the other 4 buy time and hold the map and just create space, and then he takes over because when the enemy team is 5-manning, he will naturally out-farm them. So he puts pressure on them to either spread their forces out across the map to counter him or to go for their pushes, and then should they fail, he will just come back strong. So. And it's also a hero for LGD, I think. It could be. If they want to play the late game, I think Anti-Mage could definitely be a pick for them as well.
Well, yeah, Anti-Mage overall so far has been the go-to if we want to see a late game carry. For many teams at TI5, draft has already started, ladies and gentlemen, for Game 1 between these two powerhouses in Group A. And Undying being banned out by LGD, actually, right away, of course, alongside the Naga. And Secret going with the Lesh ban. No big surprise there.
So now they need to decide what they want to give away. So the Undying that we were talking about is not even going to be a thing here. Do you ban Gyro or Tusk? Probably, right? One of them.
Probably not Tusk. I think Tusk is lower on... Okay, they're actually going to ban that.
I think Yao was actually really good on Tusk in his last game I saw yesterday. It's probably his most comfortable.
He played Tusk before it got super popular. So he's one of the forerunners of that. I think you have to ban Naga Siren every game versus Secret, and probably EG too, for that matter, in the first phase. It's just really difficult to counter, BKB or not. It's really difficult to play around, and it's one that most teams can't utilize themselves. So I think that's definitely a hero you want to ban.
And this is interesting to see because we've been talking about during the group stage that teams have prioritized Shadow Fiend less than we thought they would, even on Radiant. And one of those teams has been Secret, who haven't even picked it all tournament, I think. At least I can't remember seeing a single RTZ Shadow Fiend, and now they pick it first phase against LGD, which definitely goes to show that S4 and the whole team definitely had something else planned going in against LGD.
And these two heroes have something very in common that is very good against LGD. They can fight and they can split push. Like, if they feel they can take the fight towards LGD when they are going to 5-man, Queen of Pain and Shadow Fiend can definitely come and join the fights early, and they can also be used just in case you can't take the fights early. Queen of Pain and SF can also split push, so there's a lot of flexibility in the heroes at what they can do in the game.
I was watching the Team Secret camera and S4 was just cracking up. I was like, what could you possibly thinking? They gave us 12. That was what was running through my mind. I'm like, I don't exactly know what they were laughing about, but it was...
Well, after that, Shaker being taken out, and then the Brood ban, second phase ban. Definitely not something people are going to forget just yet after day 1.
It's... You don't give that a hero to Zion unless you have a really good plan. Like, that is just, in my opinion, his best hero compared to everyone else in the scene. Like, where he is most ahead of others is just Brood. So, definitely agree with that. Now, they did pick up the Shaker as I was thinking they would. It's just a very standard LGD go-to first phase pick. Solid carry plus Shaker. It's also a good way of putting pressure on Shadow Fiend, who will more than likely be mid. There is a slight chance that Secret safe lane it and mid lane the Quap because of this, but I don't think they will. So of course it gives you roaming potential to try to block off the Shadow Fiend, and then whatever mid lane you have could probably easily kill him. So I'm thinking LGD might be considering their Lina as their next pick, because they can first of all put it mid on maybe, but they can also play it on Xiao 8, who likes to play the support.
Yeah. We were talking about Lina and like what teams like to pick it. Like, other than Hot 6, LGD was the other team that came to our mind when we were talking about that hero yesterday. Has a very good matchup with Co-op and definitely deals with like BKB targets like Shadow Fiend very well later into the game.
Secret do have the next picks now. They've banned Bounty. That was another hero we forgot in phase 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Well, and then there's a lead.
There's still Dazzle for Team Secret. There's also still Clock.
Clock could be good. Like, it's really good versus Gyro in some sense. Like we mentioned, before he gets BKB, you have a timing window.
Look at Dazzle. I still think Clock Coddle might be their last 2 picks, actually.
They rarely pick Dazzle and
But yeah, Dazzle Coddle together might be a little bit too defensive. They did do that. Wasn't there that their support duo against Fnatic when they got rolled? Was that Dazzle Coddle, or was it Coddle and another defensive?
I think it was Dazzle Coddle.
They had a Tusk, but I think that was played by Zai in that game, so it was not a support. Might have been Dazzle Coddle. There's the Wisp.
Yeah.
We're expecting. Could come out here in the series. So. We're going to see it with a Tiny, most likely. I think they did play that yesterday. It was maybe on Tiny. I do think one game, or am I mixing it up with another team?
Yeah, I think it's really good of a choice to choose it right now because once Secret revealed their Co-op and Shadowfin, usually when Secret see I.O plus Tiny, they will respond with the Bristleback. You put the Bristleback towards the I.O Tiny lane because it deals very well with 1 versus 2 situation. It does very, very well.
S4 is not laughing so much right now.
Yeah, I think they probably realized they couldn't. It's difficult for them to switch towards the Bristleback gear right now since their other 2 cores are already shown.
I still think they can do it though.
Then they have to do Queen of Pain offlane, right?
Yeah.
Well,
It's not ideal, but neither is putting SF mid.
There's gonna be negative parts about doing that because their lanes will be a bit weird. And
Well,
I think SF does very badly against IO Tiny, in my opinion. It does very, very badly. He needs help somehow.
You can tell Secret didn't want this pick to happen because they're digging a lot into their extra time. They might have not expected it with the Shaker already being picked for LGD that they would also go for the IO.
Yeah. And usually when you pick IO here, it more or less means there's a high chance that the Earthshaker is actually a core offlane position. We saw it done by teams a lot of times already. When they have IO, the Earthshaker is actually not a support, it's offlane because if you put IO and Earthshaker as a support duo, it's sort of weird.
Do you think Secret are considering Disruptor as a combo with Darkseer and a counter to Wisp right now? As their potential 5th pick, already thinking about that when they get the DS, and that they figured that if they pick Disruptor first, Darkseer will probably get banned?
You know, I'm thinking maybe Enigma as well, like if you want to counter the relocate.
I think Secret just don't really like playing that anymore.
It's a good.
They very rarely pick junglers.
It's
they
very
did
rare.
Chen yesterday,
Right.
actually. So
Yeah.
maybe
We do see
they're
it
on the
banned
way
now.
back with jungle. That's true. It actually got banned against them this time around, so it's possible.
What other heroes that are it's really good to counteract the relocate that Secret plays as a support position? We haven't seen Sanking a lot, and we have. I don't think we have ever seen Disruptor from Secret. I don't recall.
They've done AA Disruptor before, but it's not common from them at all.
I think they need something that can follow up after Vacuum.
right.
Darkseid's going to initiate with Vacuum, and you need someone to follow up with Stun. There's got to be something, right, apart from the Shadowfin.
Yeah, Sanking and Disruptor make the most sense, I would say, in that regard. I mean, AA is still not out of the question either.
The thing is, they have no stuns though, but I guess it's Secret, so they don't really care about that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
actually,
you
they
could
banned
say
the
so.
Bane, so I guess they're expecting it to be a core Shaker, or they're scared of their own offlane Bane, which no other team plays. So it's probably
It's probably they're expecting the Earthshaker to be a core position.
it's gotta be. Is that a classic Yao offlane?
Yes.
Yeah, he does it
Okay.
quite a fair bit.
So that's not really a hero-player combination that's very memorable for me. But
At this point, yeah, the Wyvern was open.
Oh yeah,
so
that's a Wyvern.
Wyvern would have been very good too.
Totally forgot about it.
Okay.
The cast is decent and has quite some synergy with the Vacuum.
Mhm.
It's not something very common you say with Vacuum, but
Right.
it does work.
And they instant picked it too. Like they didn't want to use any more bonus time. They were like, okay, maybe they were thinking they'll ban Wyvern, we get Witch Doctor. They already planned for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The Darkseer, I expect him to do very well because since it's an IO, there's going to be IO Tiny. The other lanes will be 2-1-2, and Darkseer thrives in a situation where it's only 2 heroes instead of 3.
What if